Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to episode 49 of the International Pentagon Challenge. So to kick this video off, I want to apologise, I know it's been uploaded late. It's 21st of March 2018, 8:15 PM, and I'll just be brutally honest, I just didn't have the video ready, simply because it is always tough, finding the time to play some of these games, and normally we don't put that much time into friendlies, but I always put time into friendlies when I first take over a nation. I had a very busy weekend, obviously got an episode out on Monday, but just couldn't quite find the energy within yesterday before falling asleep to also play the games against Ethiopia, let alone make this episode, which is basically, we're not going to play any games in this episode, we're going to try and keep it nice and short and just take a look at some of our players with Egypt, some of the tactics I've been experimenting with, and just make sure you guys have a rough overview of what we've got, like we've done with all our previous nations, before we really jump into games. And yesterday I basically played all 4 friendlies, trying to, grind through it, but in the end, after work, I just didn't have enough energy. The good news is, though, I do have a week off for Easter, which hopefully means I can get loads of episodes recorded in advance, which would hopefully make up for this video being a little bit late. But anyway, so what have we got to work with Egypt? Well, I'm going to be honest, it's not as impressive as I had initially hoped. Tactically, it's been a bit of a strange one, and I initially wanted to try playing with a good old-fashioned 4-4-2. We start off with Hussein Said, who plays for Stoke, valued at £54 million on 125k a week, which is a lot of money for an Egyptian, really, if you think about it. Very, very pacey, great finishing and composure as well, 16 heading, and the fact that he's got 70 goals in 94 caps for Egypt already makes him somewhat of an Egyptian legend, so credit where it's due to him. And yeah, we needed to make sure that he was in some way, shape or form going to, of course, be included within our plans. Our other kind of strong striker, we've got this guy Ahmed El Shanawi, who plays for Petrojet, which is an Egyptian team, as you can see, decent physically as well. The idea was, and he's pretty big as well, the idea was we could maybe go with 2 physical strikers. We could cause a lot of the weaker African sides problems with the pace that we have, but because we found this out the hard way, because they kind of defend deep against us, it's not as effective as maybe we would have liked. There's also another very, very, very good striker who's currently injured, but I'm sure I'll find him. If you guys give me a second, here he is, Hani Hassan, 25 years old, despite having the hairline of a 57-year-old. Plays for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. I previously played for Schalke, well, the second team, and despite that, it seemed, I don't think that will have been in the Bundesliga. But either way, 12 goals in 19 appearances, and again, you look at his stats, you can see why I was maybe considering partnering this lad up front with whatever the hell he's called, with Hussein Said. But in the end, we tried a 4-4-2. It seemed like we got overrun in midfield. The idea was really to try and maybe consider playing Subhi Ramadan or Ramadan Subhi on the left-hand side to cut inside as kind of a makeshift winger/playmaker. We have 2 very strong left wing backs that would, get him to join in and whatnot, whilst remaining conservative on the other side and use an out-and-out winger on the right-hand side, who's Ahmed El Sayed with 16 crossing and 14 dribbling. So that's really what I was thinking, but granted, I didn't give it too much of a chance, but we played against Venezuela, and with all due respect to Venezuela, they're one of them countries that always seem to maintain a decent world ranking, yet never seem to really qualify for the World Cup or really do much in the Copa America either. So I was a little bit disappointed to draw 1-1 against them. And it did take till the 90th minute for us to get the equaliser. And if you look at the match stats themselves, it was a very even game. They had 3 clear-cut chances. And even though they were the home team, for me, it was basically... it was obvious that the 4-4-2 wasn't going to work. Midfield is one of our weakest areas, and even though I tried to counteract that by going with 2 strikers, it did seem like we were being overrun in midfield by a poor side who were only playing 2 in midfield themselves, so I knew something had to really change. So the question now is, what did we change to? So I kind of created this thing. It really is more of a 4-1-4-1, but the advanced playmaker, if we're playing Ramadan Subhi, I like to play him there, get him to man mark the opposition wide man. That way he can pull out wide and maybe try and cut inside. I feel like, yes, he's 30 years old. If we take a look at him, yes, he's not the best physically, but I just feel like these mental attributes, it's always important to have 1 or 2 experienced lads, especially in these, international sides. And I feel like his experience is important for the side. And he's got that bit of something special, even though he is getting on a bit. He's got that something special that maybe some of the other lads don't quite have yet. So if we're playing Ramsey, who's a left midfielder, very fast, 16 crossing, 12 dribbling. Other than that, not amazing technically, but gets the job done as a winger. We will obviously drag this guy out to really play here and play as a winger. So see it more as a 4-1-4-1. This tactic helped us beat Burundi 4-0, but it's only Burundi. We then played Angola, and I chopped and changed, and I was of course really happy that I managed to beat my former side in Angola. It was nice to also see that they were playing with some of the lads that we really identified when we were managing Angola ourselves. Gelson Dalla is still in the side, but he is now getting on a bit at 31 years old. You'll remember Diogenes, you'll remember Belito, and the lad who I played, I can't remember his name now, but if you guys remember that far back, we played a really big young lad who made a great target man. He also got an appearance off the bench against us. But as we saw from the match stats, we completely dominated the game, really should have won by more than a single goal, and things were starting to slowly look good. But after the Angola game, again, we chopped and changed, and we just really, in the Angola game, tried one approach in one half and then tried a different style of approach in the second half. The main difference between the approaches was really how we changed the team instructions. So initially we were looking to try be quite slow, methodical, play through the middle, but against a team like Angola who played a narrow formation, I found it advantageous to maybe become a little bit wider, try and attack down the wide areas, get the ball into the box for Saeed, and that's where this variant came from, and that's really mainly how it differs. And you guys can pause the video and take a look at the team instructions if you want to. We do the exact same thing here again, where we can change the advanced playmaker and his man marking to become another winger. But yeah, in general, that's the tactical approach we're taking at the moment. As we can see from these results, it does look like we're building something. It's all about trying to get, round pegs in round holes as well as we can. And so far, we've been doing okay. So that is really it. I'd like to show you guys some players, at least our strongest players. So we've got our goalkeeper, who's Ali Fekri, who's not great, but he does play for Montpellier, 27 years old, very decent standard for an Egyptian goalkeeper, and definitely fills the boots of El Hedri, who's going to be their goalkeeper at the World Cup this year. Proper full-on legend, that guy, really experienced veteran. They've got Amar Siem, who plays as a left-back. Now, I said we've got 2 very good left-backs, or left wing-backs. This is one of them, plays for West Ham, valued at just under £20 million. Very good physically, decent tackling, very good work rate. But our main star of the show is Mohamed Abdulraouf, who plays for Liverpool, valued at 51 million quid. Kind of funny that he plays for Liverpool, with Salah being a big deal there at the moment in real life. Elite fullback. And unfortunately, we don't really have any great right-backs, but he can kind of play right-back. So we've ended up going with this approach where we want both of them on the pitch at the same time, because I feel like him as an inverted wing back offers more than what one of our poor right backs. Like, our best right back isn't even half the player Abdulrauf is. So even if he's in an uncomfortable position, I'm happy to take that risk. And like I said, fit round pegs in round holes by playing him as an inverted wing back, so he can cut inside and beat on his more favoured left foot. And to be fair, we kind of did that with England as well when we played. I can't remember his name now. Gabriel Chidi. We kind of played Gabriel Chidi as an inverted wing back, if I remember correctly, and he used to burst into the box a lot and, you know, score, which was amazing from the perspective of a fullback. So if we can get Abdulrauf to do the same thing, who I think is a better player than Gabriel Chidi, we're laughing. Two other very strong players. We've got Mohamed Kamel, 27 years old, 106 caps for the Egyptian national side, valued at £60 million, and you can see why. 16 heading, 17 marking, 16 tackling, all the right attributes in the right places, and I am really going to be looking to see if I can get the best out of him from set pieces as well. 185 centimetres, not the tallest, but at 15 jumping reach, 16 heading, you know, you've got to try and get the ball to him from set pieces, I think, and if you can grab one or two crucial goals here and there, whether it's at the World Cup or in terms of qualifying for the World Cup, then happy days. We've also got Ahmed Kamel, plays for Al Ahly, who are the biggest Egyptian side, so not quite on the same level as his mate in Arsenal, but as you can see, not a bad player either. We also have Sharif Higazi, who apparently is not related to Higazi from West Brom, but it's a popular Egyptian surname. And again, you can see the kind of the lack of ability that these last two centre-backs have in comparison to the lad that plays for Arsenal. But at the end of the day, we're Egypt, so we're expecting that. And hopefully having the one top world-class, I think, judging by attributes, one of the best centre-backs in the world at the moment. Hopefully that will kind of even that out. In terms of other players, to be honest, we don't really have any special kind of central midfielders. I mean, they're okay, they get the job done, but central midfield really does seem to be a position we're lacking. And while when I started off with the 4-4-2, I thought to myself, well, we've not got very good central midfielders, let's try and stick on a second striker instead. It ended up in us being overrun in midfield, because if you think about when we tried to play 4-4-2 with Japan, we had a guy that played for Real Madrid and another guy that played in the Premier League who were capable of kind of patrolling the midfield when they were outnumbered and only two. But in our case, teams or Venezuela, our two versus them two, their two were winning, and it's just not on. So we found that by shoring up the middle of the park with that third player just in front of the back four, it has helped us, and that is going to be it for this episode. So I tried to keep it short and sweet like we always tend to do with these kind of episodes where we introduce some of the players. We will end up chopping and changing, of course. Next episode will be our World Cup qualifier second round game, if you guys want it. Now, it's totally up to you guys whether you want it or not. Let me know in the comments below. It will be for Friday's episode. Now, we play Ethiopia, and with all due respect to Ethiopia, they're not exactly a phenomenal footballing side, whilst we are one of the best within this continent, if not, you know, a team who should be capable of qualifying for the World Cup. Maybe not on a regular basis, but every now and then. So it could end up being a bit of a whitewash, or it could end up being, obviously, a incredibly disappointing loss, but the chances are it won't be a loss, given how we've been playing recently. So if you guys think that kind of dedicating the next two episodes to each leg of the World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia is a waste of time, and you don't want to see it, do let me know in the comments below, and I'll skip it, and we'll go on to, you know, whatever games we have after that. If we end up losing, despite being the overdogs, and it ends up being a laughingstock, then you miss out on that being a hilarious video. So it's up to you guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Apologies again if you wanted to see a game, but when we take over a new job, we always have one of these episodes. And as always, thanks for watching.